I think that in Europe we have really a mission that is to transfer the values of democracy. The bad news is that today, in many cases, the money is not related with democracy. After the Second World War, we were talking with the Americans, and then it was a connection between economy and democracy. And today, in many moments, we see that those two things are separate. Countries that are ruling partially the world because they have petrol, and then they are able to have a global influence, they will take only the surface, what is beauty about architecture, and not what is behind of it. So I think that part of the European identity is created through our values that are built in stone in our cities.
We as European, we are used to work with the complexity, because we have a building on top of different kind of stratification from the Roman Empire and so on. So our forma mentis is different from maybe the ones in America or in China or even in Russia. But what is clear at the end that when we go out means out of Europe, and when we present the prize, when they see the projects, they say, wow, this is really European. We don't know, this is something imperceptible, but it's there. The prize reflects all these buildings and the projects that have been presented in the last 25 years that really reflect this diversity of culture and way of thinking. And this is our richness, our strength, more than other countries, and then this is reflecting also in architecture.
We are here at this meeting to talk about architecture and about Europe, to talk about the contribution architecture can make to the redefinition of European cultural identity and accordingly to the ongoing European project construction. Architecture is about projects, invention, and vision of the future, about shared responsibility, teamwork, and networking. It is about providing a primary service to the community, either when it comes to private developments, but even more so when it comes to public ones. European architecture already has a tradition as being at the vanguard and progressive. It is evident in history, and in the 20th century in particular, when the European model with its social virtues was exported all over the world. Now it is time for you, today's architects, to take and to make your contribution, the one the present is asking for.
I think an ability maybe that is very unique to Europeans is what Lefebvre called implosion, explosion, but you could say also it's breathing in, breathing out. It's a very natural way of looking, I think, that we have, that we are able to both look inward very strongly, to reflect, but also look outward, connect and explore. That, I think, is something also that is a very strong quality that we should enjoy, because we do that also out of a pure joy of the exploration and the discovery of newness, not only wanting to maximize and capitalize and monetize, which maybe are also some of the big threats of our time.
Europe as a whole is, we know, very diverse, and we will talk about this later, I think, but I have a feeling that at the moment we have to look out and find our role in the world, especially in the architectural world, looking at the other players, and we have to define ourselves, and we have to concentrate and see what our strengths are and how we can push these strengths into an architecture scene in Europe that will really continue, will prosper, and be ambassadors of European architecture, like you are ambassadors of European architecture outside. And we as a museum are ambassadors as well with our stories and our shows.
Architecture as a creative practice is actually a useless practice. It is useless because it is all about the reconstruction of something as a minimal difference, which is not even objectively visible. It is about something which for the world of objective reality doesn't count at all. And what is worse for our world today than being useless? But we have to be precise here. Architecture is useless only when viewed from the point of view of the given world. It works in the way that it introduces into this world, which is all about instrumental logic connected to the production of profit, a different kind of logic, non-instrumental logic, and thus it punctures the logic of the given world. It shows that it is actually possible to work in a different way, not in the way of being tied to the system, being in the service of goods, but in the way of independent thinking and working. So architecture is actually very useful.
So it seems that, to me, that it's clear that there is European architecture. It's defined, probably, it's made, it's perceived, but today I'm not going to talk about the characteristics of European architecture. I'm rather going to talk about the challenges that I think European architecture has nowadays. And I would say that there are three main challenges. The first one, to me, is innovation in architectural typologies. The second one is to keep affording competitions, so to keep investing in kind of a way of producing ideas and throwing them away. So that's very expensive, but we should keep affording that, even if it's expensive. The third one is to invest in not only in education, but in transnational education. So the idea of Erasmus, the idea of those kind of institutions, the idea of transnational, in order to somehow dissolve what's nation to go through what's Europe.
The public commissions are becoming rarer, maybe. This is so very important is that they, I think, have a very strong ripple-on effect in public life, and that you, if there is the rare opportunity, that it really becomes a catalyst, a project, and has as much possible effect in the life of the city.
One of the major characteristics of European architecture today is the value of public space. This is a European value. This does not exist in Asia at all. This does not exist in the US. It does exist a little bit in Latin America when they were European influenced and formed. It does not exist in Africa. And this is European. Public space, to be a designed public space paid by public money, is a European effort. And that's the quality of it. And at the moment, in other countries and other continents, they are building public spaces that look like European public spaces, but they don't have the concept behind it, which means people will not use it in the same way. It's basically a decorative momentum that doesn't work. And that's the thing that Europe can contribute. We have a history of thousands of years of public space, and our cities are different because we value this and we pay a lot of money to keep it up. And sometimes we even change the whole face of our cities, like London, introducing new public spaces to save, let's say, the spatial arrangement and to make it easier and to curb the traffic and so on. We should be proud of it, and we should tell the others what we're doing. And they notice when they visit us that the experience of our cities is different from theirs.
Margarita, you're living in the States now. What can you add?
I subscribe totally what Peter is saying. It's very clear. Just I want to add one sentence, which is, I mean, of course, public space is a machine of inclusiveness and a machine of socialization, but and it's also the closest form of informal parliament. I would say that when public space is working, it's like a parliament, is where everyone has voice, and that's the thing. So it's very tied together to the idea of democracy.
Architecture actually is an idea, and it is a realization of an idea. It is not as an idea which we have and we would like to reach in a distant future, but actually it is about architectural production, any creative production, is about inseparability of thinking and working. Idea as a constant articulation of an idea in a material product, like a building, a chair, a text, a speech, exhibition. It's a materialization of an idea. That is architecture as a creative practice.
I think the concept of competition that she mentioned means possibilities, means democracy, means a way of giving commissions without giving him to the brother of your friend, of your mother, and so on. But, you know, I know somebody that knows somebody and they can do it for cheaper. That's not the way to produce quality. But to find out who can offer quality, give him a fair chance to win, and give the commission to the best. This is only to be done in a democratic field. You cannot do it in a different way. And you need democracy, you need education, and you need handwork. You need quality of production, which we have in Europe. So our problem is how to be financially on a level that can compete with cheaper competitors from elsewhere who do not have the quality, who don't want to offer the quality. And the client, so it's a responsibility of the client to see what he's building.
I would say that quality with less energy. So how can we produce something that is a good quality made, but using less energy? That's why I was saying innovation in a lot of energy thinking, but very small amount of energy producing or doing by reusing buildings, by whatever. So the challenge is to do better, but with less movements. Like thinking very well what are your steps, because we're getting older, so we have to get to know how to go from here to here with 10 calories less or something. So the point is quality with less energy. So.
What we are doing at the moment looks very much as if we cater to this need. And that's interesting. We are getting more and more beautiful to be the museum of the world, because in Shanghai there's no old things. So they come here, buy a Gucci bag, and buy, you know, maybe even a Porsche, but and then they want the experience to go with it. So we are sort of an authentic Disneyland if we don't take care.
Really, Caroline, what's your point on this?
Yeah, maybe the architectural practice in general is a bit in the same position as Europe. The small independent practice is very much under threat. So we have a choice. What do we do? Do we retreat into ourselves, allow ourselves to become a sort of artist, or live on welfare? And maybe, if we're lucky, have teaching to escape into, or do we engage with these other forces? And my practice, we have chosen engagement, for better or for worse. So we have to compromise. We are going into sort of what is for an architect very risky business sometimes, you know. So we risk sometimes maybe the integrity that we still have been educated to, that's the highest treasure. But we remember this education. We have that also inside us. But we choose to go into the world, and I think that is also really necessary in the world of the future, and it also means allowing others in. Sometimes when I go to Turkey or Russia, the architects there never enter an international competition. They really remain very much focused on their own territory. So engagement also now has the risk of being that we are only pushy, we're only trying to go outward. Actually, we're looking for exchange, but because we are the only ones maybe moving, it is perceived as a sort of almost neo-colonialist or opportunist move. But at the same time, that's,
Yes, please.
Continue from what you said. I think it's a very important point. The quality, in that traditional sense, perhaps can't be pursued anymore. Disengagement, but not to give up on architectural engagement, because then we lost it all. You know. So I think there's two ways. One is engagement, the second is conditions.
Our time is almost up, and we should think now about what's the take-home message of this meeting. It seems to me that we can draw together certain ideas, such as the following one that I took from the initial statements. Caroline talked about taking opportunities, about to be able to innovate and change and to share ideas as well, and to be able as well to look inwards and outwards and have the capacity to connect those two worlds. Peter said that we should look at the national projects as projects related with the European reality, and we should have the necessity of finding our role into the world. Petra talk about creativity, innovation, saying that in a way they could be hijacked by the market and by other realities. She said we couldn't forget about the social role of architecture, and of architecture as being a reality which contributes to Europe and its difference. And Margarita told us about three main challenges, which are innovation in architecture typologies. He said as well that Europe should focus on producing quality, and maybe more than anything else, of investing in transnational education in order to dissolve nations and to go for Europe as a nation for we all.
Some people think, and maybe with a reason, that we have started the house from the roof, which is probably bad architecture. And we need to have solid foundations. And based on what you were saying, I think the foundations that we need to build, or maybe to renew the Europe that we have, are ideas. We need new ideas. We need solid ideas in which we can build something we will be happy in, living in. This is what the new narrative of Europe it's all about. What we need is a new foundation of Europe to make a Europe in which all citizens feel that they have participated in its construction. We need ideas as a basement, we need ideas as a foundation, and then all of us, we can build on that. And I would like to thank you all for this solid foundation that you have been giving to us. Well, I think your ideas are going to create social change in Europe. So I think I can conclude to say to all of you that you are good architects, because certainly you have contributed to the change of Europe. So thank you very much. And to make it official and bureaucratic, we can declare this debate concluded. Thank you.